Making money in the crypto market has never been easier than right now. For the past week or so, the only area that's been doing absolute wonderful numbers is DEXs and everything DEX related. So a little bit ago, we talked about Aster, why it made a lot of sense and some betas off of that like 𝗕𝗄𝗄, and why they were doing so well. But just last night, I realized we've been overlooking some stuff. And one of the coins we've been severely overlooking is a DEX that I've talked about probably 100 times over the past couple of years, but mostly a few years ago. And it seems I'm on the wrong account right now, but you can see it's been going absolutely astronomical. You wanna know a fun fact? I sold the majority of my Apex, and I had a lot, all right? I had ridiculous amounts. You'd be surprised, but that's because I've been with this from the start. So if you take a look at monthly here, you can see, all right? I bought it before the price even existed. Then I rode it all the way up. Didn't really sell much. Sold all the way here at like 40 or 38 cents or something like that, just before a massive spark. And so here would have been another cool story of mine where I made a really massive X. Headed over to my main account so you can kind of see the shenanigans here, all right? I was selling at freaking lows, and I've been buying today basically in any one of these candles here. I've just been deciding to buy. Now, is there any good thesis? When the market is up this much, it's just like you buy and you pray. You know, the idea for a lot of people has been that Apex can probably easily go to $3, but you know, from $2.50 that it is right now, it's like a 20% gain. It is really not that crazy. The reason I'm buying a little bit though, is because I actually wanted to open it up in a bot, but I realized Apex cannot really be bought outside except for on Bybit. So if you're on Bybit, this is actually quite nice. And then I realized, just like with Aster, if it all of a sudden gets spread out everywhere and all the exchanges have it as an easy option, it might actually go significantly higher. So I decided to get myself some sort of position, but you know, this is cope because I'm buying way too high. Yesterday I bought it about $1. I thought it was $1.20, but it might have been $1.40, I guess. I sent it to in the group chat about $1.40. Sorry, $1.27. But this all brought me up to, I guess, two conclusions. One is even though I look at the crypto market every second of every day, I will miss some opportunities. But that doesn't really matter. One, because I still double my money overnight, fun fact. But more importantly, because this is just the game. In a bull market, the fun thing is you have tons of these opportunities. You might miss 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, I didn't make that much money off of Plasma, the biggest airdrop of the recent history just a few days ago. Well, it's okay. We just keep stacking up. We take our small victories where we can take them. And as I stated before, the goal is to do extremely well over a bull run, over a season, not to necessarily do crazy numbers every single day. And you have to understand, my main thesis has been to just make sure my bots are running really properly and I don't get wrecked on them, because still, this is already making thousands upon thousands of dollars every single day. So I don't necessarily have to look at much else. And it gives me great comfort knowing that this is always going to be running. And by the way, for all of you wondering, it's the first link in the description down below. It's called 𝗕𝗄𝗄𝗃. This is my main trading strategy for this season. Every season is different, but I really think now, this is a prediction, that many more people will be hopping onto these grid bots or bots of the sort over the next couple of months. Many of your favorite crypto channels, your crypto technical people, they'll switch over probably, because at the end of the day, the best thing in crypto is to DCA, of sorts, just buy your way down, but also have some sort of liquidity system that sells on the way up. System is really freaking perfect for at least my goals. And again, the main thesis here being, you expect these coins to go up over a prolonged period of time, or to be very volatile in the middle and maybe go sideways over time. Both of those are fine. If they're going down to zero, you don't believe in them, don't set up a bot for them, right? Don't have anything actively buying them, but no, you can actually also set it up so that it sells that specific coin, but I think it's too risky. Having said that, right now, I still think the most interesting area of like, I cannot call it in guarantee, right? But of very high likelihood of growth is still everything DEX related. I mean, Hyperliquid did so well that all the exchanges are heavily now focusing all their attention on marketing their DEX versions. So for Binance, it's right now Aster. For Bybit, it's always been, but still is Apex. And so it kind of continues on. Right now, one of the most famous ones also is Elytra. And the thing is, with all these, there's also a very high likelihood of getting some sort of nice airdrop. I mean, right now, I've never used Apex really, like 5 times, years and years ago. I still don't necessarily think it's nice, but I'm just saying that since it's not really beating its all-time high, and Bybit is the second biggest exchange just behind Binance, I believe, there is some potential for it to do better. And this is all coming from somebody who For years, I've talked about Apex so many times, right? And I've sold my whole bag, so I'm not talking to you about this from bias. I don't necessarily care if they do well or not, but still, you gotta sometimes take your let's just say it like this. Sometimes a trade just makes sense, and in this case, that seems to be the case. Anyway, there's something else that I think was quite interesting here. So I saw a post earlier today, just an hour ago, from BC Backer. It said, I'm not participating in any passive income opportunities to earn yield on XRP. Yield is not built in the XRP protocol, so utilizing third parties and other blockchains to earn that yield and take on additional risk goes beyond my comfort zone. So here comes a funny thing. People often say this, that, oh, because it's not built in, I don't like it. But in reality, theoretically speaking, it is. I mean, if you're trading a pair, XRP to something else, theoretically speaking, there's always opportunities there for providing that liquidity. There's always a yield gathered because people will always trade XRP with leverage. And for that leverage, there's often a fee, right? And you can actually be on the other side of lending that out to get the fee. So this is where we're talking about providing liquidity, providing some sort of capital to gain interest on that. That will always be there. Maybe not natively on XRP because there's no XRP staking, right? But the exchanges also give out these funds because people also do coin margin trading where they use XRP and have XRP as collateral, like I also do. But coming back to my other point of, well, I mean, I've got my bot trading strategy here, which basically does some, I personally just call it as like yielding on XRP or like a passive income thing. It's not fully true. But I always say it like this. If you're completely against any sort of yield just because it's not native, why is that? Is it because you are afraid of it being lost? Fair. I really think that's fair. You don't have the same insurances as with a bank. But essentially, it's the same as a bank. It's just less insured. A bank, if you deposit your $1,000, 90% of that, let's say, is going right back into the system. It's being lent out. Now, there are protocols in place to make sure that if the bank collapses, you have some insurances, depending on the bank, depending on the country, depending on the amount of money you got. But that's why people like it better, because they will do the lending out for you and you get basically nothing back in return. Matter of fact, in Europe, a while back, I left so I don't remember, there was even negative interest if you have more than like 100 grand in your bank. I remember having to pay to keep a freaking money in my bank account, which was ridiculous, right? Because they're making money on you. And to get back to this idea then, I always think that it's nice if you can find certain opportunities somewhere. I don't think it's necessarily that risky, but you should never do this, in my opinion, with full portfolio, because even when it comes to Ethereum, the founder of Ethereum, Vitalik, he even himself said he's not fully using all this staking because you never know what you don't know. And I agree to that. If you have 100% of everything stacked in one place, something happens that you could not have foreseen, you may not be loving yourself. And that's why I'm always still a little bit careful. Anyway, also over the next couple of days, I'll probably be opening up more and more bots for random coins that I think have interesting prospects right now. For example, Plasma. A lot of people were wanting it for some reason. I thought Plasma was already trading too high. And then I realized we're in a freaking altcoin season. Even though some of you may not realize it just quite yet, I believe coins are trading as if we're in altcoin season, where the numbers that they're making from the lows or the opening price are just absolutely ridiculous. And no, we're not in full-fledged alt season where every coin left and right goes crazy. But trust me when I say that in a bad market, most of the coins that are popping off right now, like Aster, etc., they would have not done these crazy numbers. And an Apex, for example, they would have not done these crazy numbers. We're in a very, very good market right now. And that's also how I'm acting about it. But yeah. Anyway, check out those links down below to 𝗬𝗠𝗀𝗃, which is where I'm using the bots on. Right now, focus on everything DEX related. I've left a link down below to Aster in case you do want to farm. There's also a link down below to Bybit in case you do want to still get Apex. Riskier, but I still got myself some. Why? Because I think as it spreads here, this whole war, let's call it, between Binance and Aster, Hyperliquid, and Apex, I think is going to still go a little bit crazier over time. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but I do believe these coins will be trading significantly higher over the next few months, so I'm getting in. And even though on the short term we may be a little bit royally screwed because we're buying really, really high, I said that about Aster as well at 47 cents, and it just kept on going. And Apex is not even at an all-time high yet. Again, not financial advice. I just now bought. I sold a lot at 30-something cents just a few weeks ago because I was selling most of my altcoins. Hey, you may regret it, but I'm just giving you my thoughts on the situation. You would do the information as you please. I'm not a financial advisor. But yeah, that's about it.